I'm Azaria Tagaya and you're watching Nightline. News making the headlines. Maximum price of pure palm cooking oil to be announced on a monthly basis. And sales tax to be imposed on imported products bought online. Good morning. In Perak, a flight instructor died while another was injured when a light aircraft they were in crashed by a roadside near Sungai Rokam, Medan Gopeng on Monday night. Ipoh Fire and Rescue Department Operations Commander Fakrul Razi Johari said a team of firemen were deployed to the scene after the department was alerted at 8:10 p.m. He added upon arrival, the team found that the light aircraft had crashed near a pump house at Jalan Dr. Nazrin Shah. Rescuers managed to extricate both victims from the aircraft about an hour later. However, one of them died at the scene. Perak Police Chief Datuk Myor Faridallah Trash Wahid said the deceased was identified as 52-year-old retired Major Fajim Jufa Mustafa Kamal, who was piloting the Piper 28-161 aircraft, while his injured co-pilot, identified as 62-year-old Muhammad Din Fikri Zainal Abidin, had been taken to Raja Permaisuri Bainon Hospital for treatment. In a statement, Civil Aviation Authority of Malaysia, CAAM Chief Executive Officer Datuk Captain Chester Vu said the aircraft managed by BATS Aviation Sendirian Berhad had taken off from Sultan Azlan Shah Airport before the Ipoh Air Traffic Control Tower received a distress call at 8:07 p.m. He added further investigation into the incident will be carried out in accordance with the civil aviation regulations. The government will be setting a new ceiling price for bottled cooking oil on a monthly basis based on the price of crude palm oil. Special Task Force on Jihad Against Inflation Chairman Tan Sri Anwar Musa said the ceiling price for 5-kilogram bottled cooking oil will be set at RM34.70 this month from August 8th.
KP dan GP akan mengambil langkah-langkah untuk mewartakan harga maksima yang telah ditetapkan ini, dan ianya akan dibuat dalam tempoh 1 minggu bagi membolehkan pelaksanaannya dimulakan pada 8 hari bulan. Bagi bulan-bulan yang akan datang, kaedah yang sama akan dikekalkan.
Tan Sri Anwar announced this in a media conference at the Parliament building after chairing a special task force meeting on Monday. However, he said the price is only applicable in Peninsular Malaysia. He also warned traders who fail to adhere to the maximum price that action will be taken against them based on the existing regulations. Currently, cooking oil in 5-kilogram bottles are sold between 39 to 42 ringgit. Last week, the government decided to gazette the monthly maximum price of cooking oil in bottles to assist the people to combat the rising cost of living. Malaysians will soon have to pay a sales tax, possibly of about 10%, on all imported low-value goods, otherwise known as LVG, that they purchase online. This comes after proposed amendments to the Sales Tax Act 2018 to tax LVG sales through the Sales Tax Amendment Bill 2022. The bill was tabled by Second Deputy Finance Minister Yamani Hafiz Musa for its first reading on Monday and is expected to be passed by the Dewan Rakyat during the current meeting, which ends on August 4th. Under the bill, a new section 11A will be created, which will define low-value goods as any prescribed goods or class of goods outside Malaysia which are sold and brought into Malaysia. The new law will cover sellers both in and outside Malaysia who sell low-value goods on the online marketplace or operate an online marketplace for the sale and purchase of low-value goods. The determination of low-value goods will be done by the Finance Minister based on 3 main criteria under Section 8. These criteria are the goods or class of goods, the price of the goods, and the manner in which the goods are brought into the country. The sale value of LVG on which tax becomes payable shall be the price of the LVG, not including any other taxes, fees, or other charges imposed on the LVG. The date of the commencement of the new LVG tax will be determined by the Finance Minister. Last year, when tabling the budget, Finance Minister Datuk Sri Tengku Zafrul Abdul Aziz said that low-value goods would be taxed. The aim of the tax is to provide a level playing field for locally manufactured goods. It is an offence to record or live stream police carrying out arrests or raids. Home Minister Datuk Sri Hamzah Zainuddin said action could be taken against those filming an arrest or raid under the Penal Code for obstructing a public officer from carrying out their duties or disrupting investigations. Datuk Sri Hamzah stressed that sharing such incidents was also a violation under the Communications and Multimedia Act, CMA, for disturbing others. He said this in a written reply to a question raised by Kepong Member of Parliament Lim Lip Eng in the Dewan Rakyat on Monday. On whether police could seize or look through someone's phone, Datuk Sri Hamzah clarified that the police were not empowered to carry out arbitrary seizures or checks on mobile phones belonging to members of the public. However, he pointed out that the police could do so if the phone belongs to someone suspected to be involved in crime under the Penal Code, Section 233 of the CMA, the Sedition Act, the Prevention of Terrorism Act, the Anti-Human Trafficking Act, or the Security Offences Special Measures Act. Health Minister Khairi Jamaluddin has agreed to amend 4 clauses in the Tobacco Product and Smoking Control Bill 2022 that was debated in the Dewan Rakyat on Monday. He said the decision to amend the bill came after discussions with the bipartisan Special Select Committee on Women, Children Affairs and Social Development, as well as Bandar Kuching MP Dr. Kelvin Yee, who is the chairman of the Special Select Committee on Health, Science and Innovation. Khairi took to Twitter on Monday evening to say that he had agreed to reduce the standard fines for the Generational Endgame or GEG in the Act from 5,000 ringgit to 500 ringgit. He also said that community service would be added as an option in lieu of a fine as mandated by the court. He added that there will be no body searches for anyone under the age of 18 and no punishment for possession for all GEG-related offences. Khairi added that with the concessions, the majority of recommendations by both parliamentary select committees have been incorporated as amendments into the bill. The Tobacco Product and Smoking Control Bill 2022 proposes to ban smoking, buying or owning cigarettes and tobacco products for those born in 2007 onwards. The ban is slated to come into effect in 2025. Police have taken the statement of former Attorney General Tan Sri Apandi Ali over alleged abuse of power in the One Malaysia Development Berhad 1MDB case investigations. Royal Malaysia Police PDRM Secretary Datuk Nur Syah Muhammad Saaduddin confirmed to the media that Bukit Aman Criminal Investigation Department's Classified Criminal Investigation Unit USJT recorded Tan Sri Apandi's statement from 2:30 p.m. and completed the session at 3:45 p.m. on Monday. However, she did not reveal the location where the statement was recorded. Earlier, media personnel gathered outside Bukit Aman awaiting for Tan Sri Apandi's arrival since 1:30 p.m. However, sources have reportedly said that Tan Sri Apandi's statement was recorded outside of the Federal Police headquarters. The probe against Tan Sri Apandi was being carried out following a report lodged by Klang Member of Parliament Charles Santiago alleging abuse of power and dissatisfaction over the way the 1MDB case investigation was handled during his tenure as AG. The case is being investigated under Section 217 of the Penal Code. The Malaysian Anti-Corruption Commission MACC plans to form a strategic partnership with Media Prima Berhad to ensure its agenda of corruption prevention can be better disseminated nationwide. MACC Chief Commissioner Tan Sri Azam Baki said the partnership will enable them to educate the public through the many platforms available under Media Prima Berhad in order to raise awareness on the issue of tackling corruption.
Di sini saya juga bersetuju dengan cadangan bahawa SPRM dengan Media Prima kita boleh merupakan membentuk satu bentuk strategi plan ataupun boleh juga dikatakan kita menggunakan Media Prima sebagai rakan strategik dalam usaha kita untuk memperluaskan usaha menyampaikan mesej kepada masyarakat.
Tan Sri Azam said this to the media following a corporate visit to Sri Pentas on Monday. He said the various platforms available under Media Prima Berhad can be used by the MACC to deliver its anti-corruption message, which includes the possibility of creating documentaries or even dramas based on real-life events. Meanwhile, Media Prima Berhad Group Chairman Datuk Sri Dr. Syed Hussein Al-Junid said the meeting with the MACC senior management will help to further enhance future cooperation between the two parties, in addition to focusing on aspects of education and corruption prevention measures that can be shared.
Mungkin kita boleh buat program, membuat drama ataupun juga kita boleh membuat satu temu bual di mana dalam temu bual itu kita dapat memperkongsikan dengan orang ramai.
Also present during the corporate visit were MPB Group Managing Director Rafiq Razali, Media Prima Omnia Chief Executive Officer Datuk Michael Chan, Media Prima Television Networks and Primeworks Studios Chief Executive Officer Datuk Khairul Anwar Saleh, and Deputy Group Editor for News and Current Affairs Azhari Muhyiddin. Former Selangor Menteri Besar Tan Sri Abdul Khalid Ibrahim, who died on Sunday night, was laid to rest at the Shah Alam Royal Mausoleum on Monday. The burial took place at about 2:30 p.m. in the presence of family members, dignitaries, leaders and friends. Sultan of Selangor, Sultan Sharafuddin Idris Shah, who had earlier decreed for Tan Sri Abdul Khalid to be laid to rest at the Royal Mausoleum located in Section 5, also attended the funeral. Also present were Tengku Laksamana Selangor, Tengku Sulaiman Shah and Selangor Menteri Besar Datuk Sri Amiruddin Sha'ari. Prior to the burial, leaders and members of the public came to pay their last respects to Tan Sri Abdul Khalid as his remains were placed at the Sultan Salahuddin Abdul Aziz Shah Mosque in the morning. The funeral prayer was then performed at the mosque after the Zohor prayers, led by the Grand Imam Muhammad Farhan Wijaya and joined by hundreds of congregants. Earlier, his remains were brought to Saidina Umar Al-Khattab Mosque in Bukit Damansara for Muslim funeral rites and funeral prayers with family as well as close friends. Among those who paid their last respects were former politician Tan Sri Said Hamid Albar, as well as PKR President Datuk Sri Anwar Ibrahim and his wife Datuk Sri Wan Azizah Wan Ismail. Tan Sri Abdul Khalid breathed his last at the Cardiac Vascular Central Hospital in Kuala Lumpur at 11:08 p.m. on Sunday night. He had been hospitalized since April 23rd. The 76-year-old leaves behind his wife, Puan Sri Salbiah Tunut, 4 children and 2 grandchildren. Meanwhile, Yang di-Pertuan Agong Al-Sultan Abdullah Riayatuddin Al-Mustafa Billah Shah and Raja Pemaisuri Agong Tunku Azizah Aminah Maimunah Iskandaria have expressed their condolences to the family of Tan Sri Abdul Khalid. Through a posting on the Istana Negara Facebook page, the King and Queen also expressed sadness over the passing of the former Selangor Menteri Besar and hoped that his family would be patient and persevere in the face of this sad and difficult situation. Their Majesties also prayed that his soul will be blessed by Allah and be placed among the righteous. Myanmar prolongs state of emergency for 6 months. News from the Foreign Front when we return. On to the Foreign Front, British Conservative frontrunner Liz Truss won another heavyweight endorsement on Monday as Tory members began a month of voting to decide the next occupant of 10 Downing Street. Truss's lagging rival Rishi Sunak, however, vied to make up lost ground with a plan for future tax cuts and potentially to fund a future Women's Football World Cup in Britain after England's Lioness won the European Championship. As they began receiving postal and online ballot forms, a large chunk of the roughly 200,000 Tory members are said by pollsters to nurse a grievance against Sunak one shared by Boris Johnson. The caretaker Prime Minister in the meantime said he is not formally taking sides but intends to give his successor some words of advice, whoever the person may be. The Conservative Party contenders were going head-to-head later on Monday in a members' hustings, the second of 12 such events, before the winner is announced on September 5th. Myanmar's military government on Monday has extended its emergency rule until 2023 as the country remains riven by internal fighting following last year's coup. It was reported that Senior General Min Aung Hlaing, who led last year's coup, has requested the military government to allow him to serve for an additional 6 months. It was said that members of the junta's National Defence and Security Council have unanimously supported the proposal. The junta first declared a state of emergency after seizing power from the elected government of Aung San Suu Kyi in a coup in February last year. The country has been in chaos since then, with conflict spreading after the army crushed mostly peaceful protests in towns and cities. In a speech broadcast on Monday, Aung Hlaing did not mention a date for fresh polls, but said elections could only be held when the country was peaceful and stable. Over in the US, it took only a weekend for a wildfire raging near California's northern border to swell into the state's largest blaze this year. According to authorities, the McKinney fire has burned more than 51,000 acres since it was reported on Friday afternoon in the eastern reaches of Klamath National Forest, fueled by above normal temperatures and low relative humidity. So far, about 2,500 residents have been ordered to evacuate and some 200 under evacuation warnings in Siskiyou County. It was reported that a state of emergency for the wildfire has been declared as the fire had destroyed homes and threatened critical infrastructure. The period of emergency will allow more flexibility in the face of an unfolding crisis, including the suspension of regulatory statutes that may impede the emergency response and recovery efforts. However, officials said there were no confirmed fatalities or reports of injuries as of Sunday evening. The Birmingham 2022 Commonwealth Games. In badminton, three-time winners Malaysia made it to their fifth straight mixed team final at the Games after beating England 3-0 in Birmingham. World number 115 Chan Peng Soon, Chia Yi Si justified their inclusion by stunning world number 11 Marcus Ellis Lauren Smith 12-21, 21-18, 21-13 to start the ball rolling for Malaysia. Debutant Ng Zi Yong then clinched his fifth win in as many matches when he defeated Toby Penty 21-13, 21-14 for Malaysia to race 2-0 ahead. Tokyo Olympic bronze medalist Aaron Chia So Woo Yik cruised past Ben Lane, Sean Vendy 21-17, 21-18 for their fourth win in a row against the world number 19 to confirm Malaysia's place in the final. Malaysia will take on defending champions India or Singapore in the final on Tuesday. Meanwhile, the Malaysians women's table tennis team had to play second fiddle to Singapore once again in the Commonwealth Games final. In the final match for gold, Malaysia went down 3-0 to Singapore, who were powered by China-born players at the National Exhibition Centre in Birmingham. Doubles Ho Ying and Karen Lin were the first to take the table, and they gave the China-born pair of Zhao Jingyi and Zheng Jian a scare by winning their first set 11-7. But the Singapore duo stormed back to take the next three sets 11-4, 11-6, 11-5. Alice Chang was next up against world number 16 Feng Tianwei, and the Malaysian could not match the China-born player and went down 9-11, 1-11, 7-11. Ho Ying, ranked 556th in the world, put up a gallant fight against world number 70 Zheng Jian before going down 3-11, 4-11, 11-8, 5-11. Previously, in the 2014 Commonwealth Games final in Glasgow, goal eluded the Malaysian team after they lost to Singapore 3-0. Coming up after this short break, alleged debris of China rocket found in Sarawak. Stay tuned.
Ada mas.
Welcome back to Nightline. A metal fragment believed to be debris from China's Long March 5B rocket have been discovered at Sepupok in Miri, Sarawak. The metal piece, which was buried about 1 metre into the earth, was discovered by locals on Sunday evening, who then made a report to police.
Miri Police Chief ACP Alexan Nagachabu confirmed receiving the report at around 5:30 p.m. on Sunday. However, police could not confirm the origin of the metal and sought the assistance of the Fire and Rescue Department's hazmat team as well as from the Science, Technology and Innovation Ministry to analyse the location. In the meantime, members of the public have been advised not to go near the area for fear the metal may contain radioactive substances which can be harmful to health. The area is also being closely monitored to ensure no untoward incidents occur. Earlier, social media had been abuzz for the past few days with several videos and pictures showing a bright meteor-like object in the airspace in Sarawak, especially in the Kuching area. According to the United States National Aeronautic and Space Administration, the object is believed to be rocket debris from the Long March 5B rocket that was reported to have entered into the Earth's atmosphere above the Indian Ocean at around 12:45 a.m. on Sunday.
A 63-year-old grocery shop owner with a permanent resident status and his foreign assistant, aged 30, were nabbed for illegally selling alcohol with unpaid taxes in Taman Daya in Johor Bahru on Monday. Johor Police Chief Datuk Kamarul Zaman Mahmat said the suspect's illicit activity was foiled following a midnight raid at his premises by the Marine Police. Over 1,000 bottles of liquor and 30,696 cans of alcohol worth 1.1 million ringgit were seized during the operation. The contraband items were discovered hidden inside a special storage spot about 100 meters from behind the shop and sold only to regular customers who were mostly foreign workers to prevent detection by authorities. It was believed that the senior citizen had been active since 4 months ago, buying alcohol from duty-free shops and reselling them at normal market prices. Both men have been remanded for 4 days beginning Monday to facilitate investigations under the Customs Act. The Kuala Lumpur Sessions Court on Monday allowed an application by former Sabah Infrastructure Development Minister Datuk Peter Anthony for stay of his sentence and conviction on a charge with forging a document for the purpose of cheating. Judge Azaria allowed the application based on grounds given by the applicant in his affidavits as well as in the written and oral submissions submitted by both parties earlier. In allowing the application, the judge ordered the bail imposed on the 51-year-old Peter to be increased from 50,000 ringgit to 80,000 ringgit. Following a request by Peter's counsel, the judge allowed the remaining 30,000 ringgit in bail payment to be settled before or on August 3rd. Last May, Peter was sentenced to 3 years jail and a fine of 50,000 ringgit, in default 15 months jail, after he was found guilty of forging a letter for a mechanical and electrical systems (M&E) maintenance work at University Malaysia Sabah. In Pulau Pinang, a Federal Territories Indian Development Foundation director was charged in the Butterworth Sessions Court on Monday with 11 counts of misappropriation of property belonging to the foundation. 65-year-old M. Govindaraju, however, claimed trial to all the charges before Judge Zulhazmi Abdullah, who fixed September 1st for mention.
Govindaraju was accused of dishonestly misappropriating property belonging to the foundation, amounting to 86,000 ringgit at a bank in Jalan Chain Ferry, Butterworth on August 25th last year. He also pleaded not guilty to 11 alternative charges of criminal breach of trust involving property belonging to the same foundation, which were allegedly committed at the same place and date. He was allowed bail of 2,000 ringgit on each charge and ordered to report himself at the office of the Malaysian Anti-Corruption Commission once a month, as well as surrender his passport to the court. The charges framed under the Penal Code carries an imprisonment of up to 5 years, whipping and fine if found guilty.
In Perak, a woman was charged in the Sungai Siput Magistrates Court on Monday with murdering her 8-month-old baby boy last month. 30-year-old T. Rebecca only nodded after the charge, framed under Section 302 of the Penal Code, was read out to her before Magistrate Nurul Ashifa Rizwan.
The divorced mother, who works as a nurse at a private hospital, was accused of killing J. Melvin Jeshuran at a house in Kampung Muhibah in Sungai Siput on July 24th. However, no plea was recorded as the case was under the jurisdiction of the High Court. She faces the mandatory death sentence if found guilty of the offence. The court did not grant her bail as murder was categorised as a non-bailable offence and fixed October 3rd for mention. It was reported that the victim was found unconscious and pronounced dead upon arrival at Sungai Siput Hospital. A post-mortem on the victim's body conducted at the Raja Pamaisuri Bainon Hospital in Ipoh found injuries on his body believed to have been caused by blunt objects.
In Spain, a total of 1.7 million carnations filled the Paseo de la Alameda in Valencia with colour in the first Battle of Flowers celebrated in the city after the COVID-19 pandemic. Let's take a look at the carnival as we wrap up Nightline this time around. With that, I'm Azaria Tagaya. Thank you for your company and have a great week ahead.